ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रियम् वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताका स्वामिनिति नामिने नमो आचार्य पदाय निताय कृपा प्रदायिने गौर कथा धामदाय नगर ग्रामताय नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं हरि ओम तत्सत्। Okay, so last time we were discussing, we started with the third chapter, Karma Yoga, and the very first verse, Arjuna asks Krishna that second chapter में आपने मुझे ये बताया कि better than karma is using intelligence is ज्ञान, कर्म से बेटर ज्ञान है। तो फिर आप मुझे क्यों करने के लिए कह रहे हो, वो भी ऐसा घासली कर्म, why are you asking me to fight in the war and kill so many people if intelligence is better than fruitive work? Then in text 2 he says that now I'm little confused, please tell me what is best for me. So the Supreme Lord says in text 3 that I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation and others by devotional service. So now Krishna is saying, see, the purpose of life is self-realization. Okay, whatever karma we do, whatever situation we are in, some may be Kshatriyas, some may be Brahmanas, some may be Grihasthas, some may be Brahmacharis, some may be Sannyasis. Whoever one may be, the purpose of life or the goal of life is self-realization. So there are two classes of men who try to realize the self through their activities. Some are Gyanis who try to understand by empirical philosophical speculation, and others are Bhaktas who try to understand the Lord by devotional service. Then in text 4 he says, not by merely abstaining from work one can achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. So unless and until we are mature enough, spiritually we are mature enough, we cannot renounce our action. We cannot say that just by not doing any action, I will not get any karma. No, even if I'm not doing my duty, if I'm not spiritually advanced, okay, and if I'm just abstaining from my duty, thinking that I will get bound in karma, that is also karma. Not doing our duty is also a karma. Okay, so simply by renunciation or simply by abstaining from work, we cannot be free from the action. Then text 5, he says, everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something not even for a moment. So Krishna is saying we are actually in the conditioned state. Abhi hamara conditioned state hai. We are bound by the body and the mind and the three modes and our karma. So how to, so self-realization meaning we have to become purified. We have to rise above all these body and karma and the three modes. तो वो सिर्फ कर्म न करने से हम फ्री नहीं हो सकते. ओके सो और हम लोग इतनी बुरी तरह से जकड़े गए हैं ना by the three modes that one is automatically forced to act helplessly because we are bound by the three modes. So सत्वगुण तमोगुण रजोगुण हमारे ऊपर हमेशा इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं. तो कोई ना कोई एक गुणों के अंडर हम कुछ ना कुछ तो करेंगे ही. We can never just sit like idle or not doing anything. Even if I'm not doing anything, I will think something. मैं कुछ सोचूंगी और वो मेरा जो thoughts है वो भी सत्वगुण तमोगुण रजोगुण से इन्फ्लुएंस्ड हुआ होगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल मुझे बहुत गुस्सा आया है. अब मैं सोचूं मैं कुछ ना कर, मैं आई वोंट से एनीथिंग, आई वोंट स्पीक एनीथिंग बिकॉज आई डोंट वांट टू डू एनीथिंग रॉन्ग. तो वो सोचकर मैं ऐसे चुपचाप बैठ गई. लेकिन in my mind that those thoughts are still going on. I'm still so angry and all wrong thoughts are coming in my mind. I will go away, I will run away, I will not talk to this person never. So many thoughts, even though externally I'm not acting, but in my thoughts are running, right? So no one can refrain from doing something even for a moment because we are bound by the modes. So self-realization means we have to become free from the modes of nature first. As long as we are bound by the modes of nature, no one can become liberated. So liberation means first becoming free from the three modes of nature. And how we can become free from the three modes of nature? So we have to do right kind of karma that will liberate us from the three modes of nature. So next verse, text 6, one who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. So one may renounce everything, thinking that I don't want to get into karma. But in his mind, if he's always thinking of sense objects, he's always thinking of how to enjoy, or within his mind, he's trying to enjoy, then he's just a pretender. Then text 7, on the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. So then in text 7, Krishna says how we have to do karma so that we become purified and we become liberated. It is not by not doing karma we become liberated, but by doing the karma how? In Krishna consciousness without attachment, then we gradually become free from the three modes and also from the reactions of karma. Then text 8, he says, perform a prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. So then he explains that since we are in the material body, we are spirit soul, no doubt. But since we are in the body, now we have to do some work in order to maintain our body, our family. We have to live in the society. So we have to maintain, we have to work. Okay, so we have to do how we have to work? We have to do our prescribed duty nicely without attachment. Okay, so then text 9, he says, work done as a sacrifice of Vishnu has to be performed. I think we had completed till text 9. So we had done this verse. Yajnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaham tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. So this is the secret in 3.9. Krishna gives a secret how we should act. So what does he say? Work has to be done as a sacrifice for Vishnu. Okay, we have to do our work to please Vishnu. That becomes a sacrifice. वही एक यज्ञ बन जाता है. Actually, in Kali Yuga, there is no yajna with fire. Fire yajna का कोई ज़्यादा importance नहीं है. In Kali Yuga, work has to be done in such a way that it becomes a sacrifice for Vishnu. Like when we are cooking and offering food to Krishna first, bhoga, and then we are honoring it as prasadam, it is a sacrifice. Okay, so when you're doing kirtan at home, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, that's a sacrifice, sankirtan yajna. When you're chanting, that's a sacrifice. So in Kali Yuga, these are the sacrifices which pleases Vishnu. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. So we have to do our prescribed duties. For example, we are all grihasthas. So as a grihastha, what all are our duties? We have to do that as a service to Krishna. Taking care of children, taking care of family. If somebody is working, then even working because it is needed to run the family. And then making your home a temple of Lord Krishna, offering all that you eat, first offer it to Krishna, whatever you use for yourself, we must first offer it to Krishna. So, and then keeping an association of devotees, taking out time for chanting and reading and hearing, going to temple, going to dham. So being grihastha and we have to do our daily, our sanatan, our swadharma means occupational duty, and also swadharma meaning pleasing Lord Vishnu. So what are the specific activities which pleases Lord Vishnu? Chanting, hearing, reading, the devotional activities. Okay. So these are the activities which directly please Lord Vishnu, that is Sanatan Dharma. And doing our occupational duty, the other duties of Grihastha, thinking that this is the duty which is given to me by Lord Krishna. I am in this situation, so I have to do whatever I have to do. I have to do it to please Krishna. If we do it in that way, this becomes a sacrifice, and that pleases Lord Krishna, and that helps us to become free from bondage. That is how we become free from bondage. Okay, for example, um, we are grihasthas. Okay, sometimes nowadays we are seeing there are so many divorce cases happening. Why? Because people have lost tolerance, zero level of tolerance. So, and today we see both are working, husband and wife. So both of them are they are independent, they are self-sufficient in the sense, some way people know that yes, even if I stay alone, I can take care of myself. Even boys have started learning cooking, so they know even if I am alone, I can cook for myself. I don't depend on the wives. The girls are working, so they don't depend on the husbands for money. So like this, in today's time, we see that people are, girls and boys are trying to be equal, and so no tolerance, no respect. Actually, grihastha life means the male has his own function, female has her own function, and they both have to do first their functions first, their duties as a female and as a male first. So even if suppose there are differences, now how does a devotee's house work? How do we as a devotee, or when we are learning Bhagavad Gita, how do we adjust in a family? So there may be some differences between husband and wife. you know हो सकता है नहीं जम रहा है, या हो सकता है there are some differences and you think this is not working. So in general, people, what they do, they take a divorce when things are not working good or as expected. But as a devotee, we adjust, we try to adjust, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, there is no mention of divorce. In Bible also, there is no mention of divorce. So we have to learn to adjust, tolerate, forgive, be patient. Okay, giving up our own self-interest and trying to adjust with the other person. When we do this, this satisfies the Lord. And when we do this for the pleasure of Krishna, thinking that, okay, no, Krishna, for Krishna's pleasure, I must give up my own ego, I must give up my own self-interest. Let me just adjust, let me just tolerate, let me just forgive. Even if the other person is hurting me, let me just forgive, let go. So when we learn to adjust, tolerate, this is what is sacrifice. And this is what pleases Lord Vishnu. And when we want to do it for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu, basically, that pleases the Lord. So this is how, as a grihastha, we do our prescribed duties for his satisfaction. And in that way, we remain free from bondage. Okay, so next we go to the 10th verse. Someone wants to read this after, repeat this? Any one of you? Leena Mata. सहयज्ञाः प्रजाः सृष्टवा
सहयज्ञाः प्रजाः सृष्टवा
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम्
Anena Prasavishya
Esha Vostishta Kamaduk.
Esha Vo
Esha Vostishta Kamaduk.
Esha Vo Swishta Kamadhu. Saha, along with Yajna sacrifices, Rajaha generations, Srishtva creating, Pura anciently, Uvacha said, Prajapati, the lord of creatures, Anena by this, Rasa Vishyam, be more and more prosperous, Kesha, this, Va your Astu, let it be, Ishta of all desirable things. Kamadut restored. Translation: in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, be thou happy by this yajna sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. Purport: the material creation by the Lord of creatures, Vishnu, is a chance offered to the conditioned soul to come back home, back to Godhead. All living entities within the material creation are conditioned by material nature because of their forgetfulness of their relationship to Vishnu or Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Vedic principles are to help us understand this eternal relation. As it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedaischa Sarve Aham Eva Vedya. The Lord says that the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Him. In the Vedic hymns, it is said, Patim Vishwasya Atma Veshwaram. Therefore, the Lord of the living entities is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. In Srimad Bhagavatam also, Srila Sukadev Goswami describes the Lord as Pati in so many ways. Shriya Patir Yajna Patir Prajapatir Niyam Patir Loka Patir Dhara Patir Patir Gatish Chandaka Vrishni Satvata Prasiddhatam Me Bhagavan Satam Pati. The Prajapati is Lord Vishnu, and he is the Lord of all living creatures, all worlds and all beauties, and the protector of everyone. The Lord created this material world to enable the conditioned souls to learn how to perform yajnas, sacrifices, for the satisfaction of Vishnu, so that while in the material world, they can live very comfortably without anxiety, and after finishing the present material body, they can enter into the kingdom of God. That is the whole program for the conditioned soul. By performance of yajna, the conditioned souls gradually become Krishna conscious and become godly in non-respect. In the age of Kali, the Sankirtana Yajna, the chanting of the names of God, is recommended by the Vedic scriptures, and this transcendental system was introduced by Lord Chaitanya for the deliverance of all men in this age. Sankirtana Yajna and Krishna consciousness go well together. Lord Krishna in his devotional form as Lord Chaitanya is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam as follows, with special reference to the Sankirtana Yajna. Krishna Varnam Visha Krishna Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yajnaihi Sankirtana Praye Yajanti Medasa. In this age of Kali, people who are endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord, who is accompanied by his associates by performance of Sankirtana Yajna. Other yajnas described in the Vedic literatures are not easy to perform in this age of Kali, but the Sankirtana Yajna is easy and sublime for all purposes, as recommended in the Bhagavad Gita, also chapter 9.
Hare Krishna. So basically in this verse number 10, now this from here, 10th verse onwards, now Krishna is gradually telling us how one has to become from Karma Kanda, one has to first enter into Karma Yoga, right? Karma Kanda means somebody who does not recognize Krishna, who does not recognize God, who thinks that I can do anything. So Krishna says, at least don't act like that, at least understand that there is the creation has been done by a supreme authority. There is God, and he has made a system. and follow the Vedic scriptures. Follow the Vedic scriptures. So that from there begins the Karma Yoga. Okay, so Krishna says that why did he create the material world? He created to give a chance. He has made the material world as a place where the souls like us, we get a chance to come back home, back to Godhead. From here, when we come in the material world, we are given a chance so that we can go back to Krishna, to the spiritual world. Okay, and he teaches us how the entire world he has created. He has created men and demigods both. ऐसा नहीं है खाली मनुष्य का ही जन्म हुआ था, या now we learn in school ना evolution के हिसाब से, जब Darwin's theory वगैरह हम जब पढ़ते हैं, so they say that initially there was one cell entity, then it divided, then came human, then our ancestors are the monkeys or the chimpanzees. So ऐसा नहीं है, it is not like that. Actually, when the Lord created the world, all the living entities were created, even the demigods were created, the men were created, all the animals, all the living bacteria, viruses, aquatics, birds, plants, animals, सब लोग create हुए थे एक साथ. So it's not that there was one cell and then it divided, and then gradually this is how today we see so many living entities. So that is a bogus theory. The real creation begins when Lord Vishnu, he sees, he visualizes the Prakriti, and then Prakriti se creation shuru hota hai, and then she creates both the demigods also and the human beings and all the other living entities with different bodies. So basically भगवान ने जब ये ह्यूमन को बनाया, डेमिगॉड्स को भी बनाया, तो उनके बीच में एक समझौता रखा कि if the humans they perform sacrifice, then the demigods will be pleased, and more than the demigods, Vishnu has to be pleased, because Vishnu is the master of all the demigods also. So Vishnu is to be pleased through the sacrifice, and by doing so, human beings will get all their necessities, and human beings. So in order to live peacefully also in the material world, we need to please Lord Vishnu, so that all our basic necessities is provided, so that we can live peacefully here, and then also make spiritual progress to go back to Krishna. Because unless and until one is materially stable and peaceful, they cannot even think about going back home to Vishnu or Krishna, right? If somebody is too, too poor, उसको कुछ खाने को भी नहीं मिल रहा है, या वो उसका health एकदम खराब है, so such people cannot even think about chanting. मैं chanting कैसे करूँ? How can I go back to Krishna? Nobody in that situation. None of us can do that, right? So we need good health. We need some stability in life. Material life, so that we can think of spiritual progress. That is why we need that good health, or some good or peaceful material life. So for that reason, we need to perform sacrifice in order to please Vishnu, so that materially we are peaceful, and so that we can focus for a higher purpose in life, that is spiritual, going back to Godhead, that goal of the real goal of life. Okay, so for that reason, we must perform yajna or sacrifice. That's so from here, Krishna is saying that at least from Karma Kandi, you start your journey with Karma Yoga, meaning keeping Krishna in the center, trying to do all your activities to please Krishna or Vishnu. Okay, so now we go to the next verse, 11th verse.
I'll read, Mataji.
Swati Mataji, do you want to read this
Yes,
verse?
Mataji, I'll read, Mataji.
Okay. Devan bhavayata tena.
Devan bhavayatatnena.
Te deva bhavayantu vaha.
Te deva bhavayantu.
Parasparam bhavayantayah yantaha.
Parasparam bhavayantaha.
Shreyah parama avapsyastha.
Shreyah paramavapyastha. Devan, demigods, bhavyanta, having pleased, anena, by this sacrifice, te those, deva, demigods, bhavyantu, will please, vah, you, parasparam, mutually, bhavyantah, pleasing one another, shreya, benediction, param, the supreme, avapyastha, you will achieve. The demigods, being pleased by sacrifices, will also please you, and thus by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all. Purport: the demigods are empowered administrators of material affairs. The supply of air, light, water, and all other benedictions for maintaining the body and soul for every living entity is entrusted to the demigods, who are innumerable assistant in different part of the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Their pleasures and displeasures are dependent on the performance of yajnas by the human being. Some of the yajnas are meant to satisfy particular demigod, but even in doing so, Lord Vishnu is worshipped in all the yajnas as the chief beneficiary. It is stated also in Bhagavad Gita that Krishna himself is the beneficiary of all kinds of yajnas. Bhoktam yajna tapasam. Therefore, ultimate satisfaction of the yajnapati is the chief purpose of all yajnas. Where these yajnas are performed naturally, the demigods in charge of the different department of the supply are pleased, and there is no scarcity in the supply of natural products. Performance of yajnas has many side benefits, ultimately leading to liberation from material bondages. By performance of yajnas, all activities become purified, as it is stated in Vedas. Ahara sudhau sattva sadhitha sattva sadau dhruva smriha lambe sarva granthi nam vipram mokshaha. By performance of yajnas, one eatables become sanctified, and by eating sanctified foodstuff, one's very existence becomes purified. By the purification of existence, finer tissues in the memory become sanctified, and when memory is sanctified, one think of the path of liberation, and all these combined together lead to Krishna consciousness, the great necessity of present day society. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. So this is the secret given here, how by performing yajna we are becoming purified. तो भगवान ने क्यों कहा है कि मनुष्य को यज्ञ करना चाहिए, क्योंकि यज्ञ करने से हम purification होता है हमारा. So how? Let's see. So first of all, Krishna made the creation and he made the demigods, he made the human beings also. And who are the demigods? Demigods are empowered administrators of material affairs. So they are in charge of the material affairs, right? We have sun god, rain god, water god, air god, right? So they each demigod is in charge of each particular department, and they are providing the necessity to the living entity, to the human beings. So उन दोनों के बीच में भगवान ने relation कैसा रखा है कि human beings जो भी हम, because whatever we are doing, we are first utilizing these resources. Without using these resources, we cannot do anything. For example, cooking करना है, fire के बिना हम नहीं कर सकते. Factory चलाना है, fire के बिना नहीं कर सकते. Electricity के बिना हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Air के बिना तो हम सांस भी नहीं ले सकते, तो जिंदा ही नहीं रहेंगे. How will we do anything? We are dependent on these basic necessities: air, light, water. Right? For anything, farming, we need water. Agriculture, we need water. Anything, we need these basic necessities. So, just like, in a country, how we are, whatever we are earning, we have to pay some tax to the government. And then the government provides us facilities. He provides us with nice roads and everything, commutation ke liye, like so many various departments, and they provide basic facilities to the citizens. Okay. Similarly, between demigods and human beings, there is a system where we have to pay tax in the form of yajna. So human beings, normally we don't do that, right? We are just taking the resources, but we are not giving back any taxes to the demigods who are providing us the resources. So one day they will stop giving us because human beings are not performing yajnas. That is why we see there is scarcity of water, or there is excess of water. Rain kabhi zyada aa jayega, kabhi kahin kahin pe rain aayega hi nahi, kahin kahin pe bhookmari ho rahi hai. Kyun ye sab ho raha hai? Because people are human beings have stopped performing yajnas. Because that's how Krishna had created the world, that humans will perform yajnas and demigods, they will be pleased and they will give all the necessity. So still, even if, and for that reason, previously we used to have kings. Pehle raja hote the, to raja log, they used to see to it that his people in his kingdom, they are performing yajna so that the basic necessities are provided by the demigods to them. So that is why India was so rich previously. और सब लोग इतने खुश थे because जो हमारे राजा होते थे वो लोग ही बहुत they were very pious, they were God conscious. In fact, most of them were devotees of Lord Krishna, like Pandavas, like Prithu Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj. They were all great kings, great devotees of Krishna, and they used to make sure that everybody is doing yajna so that we have a peaceful life which can be dedicated for a higher purpose, for spiritual perfection. Right? So that is why yajna has to be performed. But now in Kali Yuga, nobody cares for this. The government doesn't care for it, and they don't care for the citizens to perform yajnas as well. They are doing crime and they are cheating people, they are stealing everything, they are becoming selfish, and they are making the citizens also of the same mentality, same attitude. So nobody is performing yajna. Then that is why we are seeing so much of, like in Kali Yuga, why so much of so many diseases or poverty or within the house only itna jhagda, yeah, so many all negativities that we see in the Kali Yuga is a result of this only, that we are not performing yajna. So the Lord has given us a simple yajna, Sankirtan yajna, which we can do at least individually at home. We can do. Even if the whole country, society is not doing yajna, Krishna has still given us an opportunity that, at least each of you can, we can still do our yajna by doing Sankirtan yajna. तो घर में अगर हम संकीर्तन करते हैं, 15 मिनट भी रोज करते हैं हरे कृष्णा कीर्तन, that is like yajna. And offering your food to Krishna first and then honoring prasadam, that is yajna. Daily chanting the holy name is yajna. So all these yajnas, this is known as devotional bhakti yoga ka yajna, and this is so easy and simple to perform. And when we do this, you yourself can experience the peace in your heart, in your home, when you perform these yajnas. So because that's the way the Lord has made it, that first Vishnu has to be pleased, and then Vishnu or Krishna has to be pleased, and then the human beings, they can experience peace in life and freedom from material bondage. And what happens when we do this yajna? So for example, यहाँ पे हमारे खाने का बताया गया कि जब हम खाना बनाते हैं और पहले भगवान को ऑफर करते हैं, तो वो एक sacrifice हो जाता है, वो प्रसाद बन जाता है. So eating such sanctified food stuffs, one's very existence becomes purified. Our existence becomes purified. How? By purification of existence, finer tissues in the memory become sanctified. तो पहले जब हम भगवान को ऑफर कर रहे हैं, वो यज्ञ हो गया, तो उसमें हम जो कुछ भी कर रहे हैं, हमारा एक्शंस जो कर रहे हैं, हम जो कुछ ऑफर कर रहे हैं, वो सब कुछ प्यूरिफाई हो जाता है. और हमारा एग्जिस्टेंस प्यूरिफिकेशन होने से जो फाइनर टिश्यूज हैं, व्हेन वी ईट दैट फूड प्रसादम, तो वो हमारे ब्रेन में जो फाइन टिश्यूज हैं वो एकदम प्यूरिफाई हो जाता है, मेमोरी प्यूरिफाई हो जाता है. मेमोरी प्यूरिफाई हो जाता है, then we can think of the path of liberation, we can think about God, we can think about, like, because our finer tissues in the brain are purified, so that is why we can think of the path of liberation, of spirituality. Otherwise, we see you preach to so many people. You must be, I'm sure every one of you must be coming across so many people, and you're trying to tell them, please chant the holy name, please chant the name of Krishna. But not everyone takes to Krishna consciousness. Not everyone is able to chant the holy name. Why? Because जब तक हम ये यज्ञ नहीं शुरू करेंगे, जब तक हम कृष्णा को प्लीज नहीं करेंगे और वो प्रसादम नहीं खाएंगे, हमारा फाइन टिश्यूज जो है ब्रेन में वो प्यूरिफाई नहीं होगा, तब तक हमारा ब्रेन और इंटेलिजेंस जो है वो जब तक वो प्यूरिफाई नहीं होगा, हम सोचेंगे ही नहीं कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस के बारे में या स्पिरिचुअलिटी के बारे में. So this is the secret behind performing yajna. And do we also notice changes since we have started honoring prasadam? आप लोगों को खुद को वो changes feel हुआ होगा. Do you want to share any of your experiences? How used to feel before when जब हम बिना ऑफर किए खाते थे और अब जब हम प्रसाद खाते हैं तो क्या फर्क है हमारे खुद के सोच में, बिहेवियर में और हमारे घर में भी? Anyone wants to share?
Mataji, in the house, like my daughter, whenever we serve and eat Mataji, so she checks on me whether I offered or not. So this consciousness is going in kids also, Mataji. So this is happening in the house. And Mataji, we have completely for last, like we are not buying onions. That way we are stopping to cook with onion. At least for some time I'm not bought and I'm not going to buy. So the way we used to cook and now the way we are cooking, that has changed. So that satisfaction is there that we are going more closer to, they are not things which we can't, we are having and we can't offer. So everything can be cooked without onion and garlic. It is possible. It's just changing the taste.
Yeah.
And, other thing, Mataji, when we are offering and eating, somehow, Mataji, we are not eating for the taste, as in our portion size has been controlled, as in my case, Mataji, because we are eating with a different consciousness when we are offering and that prasadam we are distributing. So Mataji, then when you are sitting to eat, you are sitting with a different, you are thinking that this is prasad we are eating. So you are not, if something very tasty is also there, you are not gobbling, you are not eating too much. So you are sitting with a different consciousness. Mataji.
Yeah, so complete consciousness has changed, right? So much, मतलब कितना ठहराव आ जाता है हमारे mind में, हमारा सोचने का ढंग, everything has changed. So this is all because of purification that happens when we honor prasadam. Just as we are studying here, when we honor prasadam, then our fine tissues in the brain, they are purified, and then one thinks of the path of liberation. I think previous verse it was written here. Yeah, by the purification of existence, finer tissues in the memory become sanctified. When memory is sanctified, one can think of a path of liberation. And all this combined together leads to Krishna consciousness, the great necessity of present day society. So again, बच्चों के पीछे पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है. बच्चों को सिर्फ प्रसाद ही आप खिलाओगे, their intelligence and memory will always remain purified. Okay, 12th verse. Who wants to read this verse?
माताजी मैं read करूं?
हाँ, yes. इष्टान भोगान हि वो देवा
इष्टान भोगान हि वो देवा
दास्यन्ते यज्ञ भाविताः
दास्यन्ते यज्ञ भाविताः
तैर्दत्तान प्रदायैभ्यो
तैर्दत्तान प्रदायेभ्यो
यो भुङ्क्ते स्थेन एव सः.
यो भुङ्क्ते स्तेन एव सः. Istan, desire, Bhogan, necessities of life, he certainly, Vah, unto you, Devah, the demigods, Dashyante will award Yajna Bhavitah, being satisfied by the performance of sacrifice, they have by them Dattan, things given, Apradaya, without offering, Abhaya, to these demigods, yah he who bhunkte enjoys, stenah thief, ev certainly, sah he. In charge of the various necessity of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yajna, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigod in return is certainly a thief. Purport.
The demigods are authorized supplying agents on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. Therefore, they must be satisfied by the performance of prescribed yajnas. In the Vedas, there are different kind of yajnas prescribed for different kind of demigods, but all the ultimately offer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For one who cannot understand what the personality of Godhead is, sacrifice to the demigod is recommended according to the different material qualities of the person concerned. Different type of yajnas are recommended in the Vedas. Worship of different demigods is also on the same basis, namely according to different qualities. For example, the meat eaters are recommended to worship the goddess Kali, the ghastly form of material nature, and before the goddess, the sacrifice of animal is recommended. But for those who are in the mode of goodness, our transcendental worship to Vishnu is recommended. But ultimately, all yajnas are meant for gradual promotion to the transcendental position. For ordinary men, at least 5 yajnas, known as Panch Mahayajna, are necessary. One should know, however, that all the necessities of life that the human society requires are supplied by the demigods agent of the Lord. No one can manufacture anything. Take, for example, all the eatables of human society. These eatables include grains, fruits, vegetables, milk, sugar, etc. For the person in the mode of goodness, and also eatables for the non-vegetarians like meat, none of which can be manufactured by men. Then again, take for example heat, light, water, air, etc., which are also necessity of life. None of them can be manufactured by the human society. Without the Supreme Lord, there can be no profuse sunlight, moonlight, rainfall, breeze, etc., without which no one can live. Obviously, our life is dependent on supplies from the Lord. Even for our manufacturing enterprises, we require so many raw material for like sulfur, mercury, manganese, and so many essentials, all of which are supplied by the agent of the Lord. With the purpose what we should make proper use of them to keep ourselves fit and healthy for the purpose of self realization, leading to the ultimate goal of life, namely liberation from the material struggle for existence. This aim of life is attained by performance of yajnas. If we forget the purpose of human life and simply take supplies from the agents of the Lord for sense gratifications and become more and more entangled in material existence, which is not the purpose of creation. Certainly, we become thieves, and therefore we are punished by the law of material nature. A society of thieves can never be happy because they have no aim in life. The gross materialist thieves have no ultimate goal of life. They are simply directed to sense gratification, nor do they have knowledge of how to perform yajnas. Lord Chaitanya, however, in, in, ag- in,
Inaugurate.
ag- inaugurate the easiest performance of yajna, namely the Sankirtan yajna, which can be performed by anyone in the world who accept the principle of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so the simplest yajna which is prescribed for us in Kali Yuga is Sankirtan yajna, and anyone can do this Sankirtan yajna and please the Supreme Lord and be happy. That is why Krishna says, Srila Prabhupada says, chant and be happy. Because this is the simplest yajna that we can perform, right? We don't need fire, we don't need a brahmana, we don't need expenditures. No, very easy to perform without any expenses. Everyone can perform the yajna and we will be happy even in the material world. We will have a peaceful life and also we will march forward towards going back to Godhead. So basically इस वर्ष में demigods के बारे में बताया गया है कि demigods are authorized supplying agents on behalf of the Supreme Lord. So demigods are they are authorized by the Supreme Lord himself. They are in charge of various departments and they are head of department of various necessities, various resources that we need. And when they are satisfied by the yajna that we perform, then they provide us with all these resources. So yes, so in Vedas, in many of the Vedas, various demigod worship has been recommended. Why they are recommended? Because Krishna says, at least in comparison to those people who do not believe in God, who do not believe in higher authority, at least in comparison to them, it is better to start identifying that there is a superior authority. As a human being, we are not free to act anyhow or to use the resources anyhow. Okay, everything is being supplied to us, so we must recognize that. We must identify that yes, there are demigods. So at least demigod worshippers are better than those who do not worship or do not recognize any higher authority, or they do not believe in God. So demigod worship is therefore mentioned in Vedas. Okay, however, yes, Krishna says that he is a supreme. He is a supreme who is even the master of all the demigods. Okay, so yes, we have to please the demigods, but most importantly, we have to please Vishnu, who is the master of all the demigods. Okay, and then in different Vedas, different demigod worship is also recommended. Just for example, there are different kinds of people. Some are influenced by the mode of goodness, some are in the mode of passion, some are in the mode of ignorance. मतलब एक्चुअली तीनों ही मोड सबके ऊपर का इन्फ्लुएंस होता है, सबके इन डिफरेंट डिग्रीज, बट सम पीपल आर मोर इन द मोड ऑफ गुडनेस, some more in the mode of passion, some more in the mode of ignorance. So those who are more in the mode of ignorance, they will want to have meat and they will want to have intoxication. So for them also, Krishna has mentioned few rules and regulations. For example, the meat eaters, unke liye Kali ka worship has been recommended. So they worship goddess Kali, and what they have to do whenever they have to eat meat, they first have to offer the goddess Kali and then eat the remnants. Okay, so that way what will happen, because there are proper rule regulation दिया गया है कि कैसे उस एनिमल को भी जब मारा जाता है तो कुछ मंत्र बोल के मारते हैं, and that mantra says that this if you are allowing me to kill you, so I also allow you to kill me in my next life. So like that, वो mantra का वो meaning है. So and then it has to be done only on the day of Amavasya, not any day. So like that, some rules, regulations are given, and if they follow this, then gradually they become purified. One day they will think, कि why am I killing so much? Even I have to undergo so many suffering. If इतना मैं किसी को मार रहा हूँ तो मुझे भी उतनी बार मुझे भी मरना पड़ेगा. So why am I killing? So like this, one day that person's buddhi or intelligence gets purified, and then he comes in the mode of passion or goodness. So that is the reason why in some Vedas this is allowed. Animal killing is allowed. Okay, but it is not for everyone. It is not meant for those who are in the mode of goodness or passion. It is only meant for those who are in the mode of ignorance. तो अगर ब्राह्मणास भी कहेंगे कि हाँ वेदों में लिखा गया है कि एनिमल किलिंग अलाउड है, इसलिए हम भी कर सकते हैं, तो वो पाप हो जाता है. एंड वही हो रहा है आजकल कलयुग में. एवरीबडी इज ईटिंग मीट थिंकिंग दैट इट इज अलाउड, so even the brahmanas are eating. So this is not the way how the Lord has made. The Lord has made different Vedas for different kind of people, but the ultimate purpose is to get purified and come to the mode of goodness eventually, and question about who am I, who is God, and then try to find out or walk on the path of liberation. Not that we eternally we have to stay in that mode and continue doing the wrong things. Right, so there is a purpose behind the Vedas, and why there are different Vedas and different things are mentioned in different Vedas. But eventually, the main purpose is that one should at least identify some authority amongst the demigods, worship them, give them something in return, perform sacrifices, and then this helps us to gradually become purified. Okay, so in the next paragraph, it is mentioned how the demigod they are providing us everything. Yeah.
Mataji?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Madhu.
Yeah, in the last line of the first paragraph, for ordinary men, at least 5 yajnas known as Panchama yajna are necessary. What are those?
Pancha Mahayagna.
Yeah.
Sorry, okay, I don't have much idea about this. What is Pancha Mahayagya? Maybe in proper Vedic literatures पूरा mention किया होगा. So, yeah. But in anyways, in Kali Yuga, it is not necessary. All these details are not necessary. Pancha Mahayagya and all that.
Sankirtan yajna.
Yeah, because for us, it is only Sankirtan Yagya. Where there are fire yagyas, वहाँ पे थोड़ा और detail होगा पंच महायज्ञ type. लेकिन अभी fire यज्ञ तो इतना हमारे लिए है नहीं. We have Sankirtan Yagya. So basic thing that we have to understand that we need to perform yagya, and for us it is Sankirtan Yagya for today's time. And if we are doing Sankirtan Yagya, chanting, reading, hearing, all these are yagyas. So our life will become very simple and peaceful, and we can also be happy. Otherwise, if we just take and we do not give anything, it is mentioned here, like demigods are giving us resources, and if we are only taking from them and not giving them back, then we are only creating a society of thieves that can never be happy because they have no aim in life. The gross materialist thieves have no ultimate goal of life. They are simply directed to sense gratification, nor do they have knowledge of how to perform yagyas.
Mataji, that is what has been taught to us also, no? Like the water cycle, the rains will come, the sun will take water. It is the rule. It is what it never it's been told to us that okay, because it's part of the nature God has given, Vishnu has made it, so we have to offer our thanks or arghya dena hai. Nothing has been taught. It's been part of this. So even the academic thing, बहुत ही it is expected. इतना nature में है, हमको मिलेगा. We are taking things for granted.
Yeah.
So अभी समझ में आ रहा है when there are floods, cyclone, rainfall नहीं है, पानी नहीं है.
क्योंकि ये लोग पे ही नहीं रहे, टैक्स नहीं पे कर रहे.
अभी समझ में आ रहा है when you are reading this. Otherwise it's like हाँ बहुत धूप था, बहुत गर्मी थी, तो बारिश किया. मतलब we give all those other reasons.
मतलब हम लोग आइडेंटिफाई ही नहीं करते कि there are demigods. First of all, people don't believe only कि there are gods. They think that is just all imaginary, just mythology. There is no
it is
God.
there only to the extent कि मुझे कुछ करना है, तो जब जरूरत है तभी मैं जब चाहिए तभी मैं सब बिलीव करूंगी. नहीं चाहिए तो फिर take them from there.
Yeah. So we'll stop here today. And what I was thinking is from next time, instead of reading the entire purport, if all of you all can read at least 7 shlokas, like each day, एक दिन में भी एक श्लोका आप read कर लो, तो 7 shlokas you can read on your own with purport. And when we are in the class, we can just read the translation, the shloka, the translation, and I can explain in short, and then we go ahead. So that way we will be able to cover more than what we are reading daily. So please read at home at least 7 verses in 7 days you will be able to do, and we can discuss in short. Like we will just read the shloka and the translation, and I can explain. And if you have that way, if you read, you will also have questions, and you can then ask in the class whatever you have not understood.
Yes.
Yes, Mataji. At least create a habit of reading.
At least
Yeah.
of every day we will read and we'll be more cautious कि हमें पढ़ना है.
वही.
Yeah, कुछ
और
question तो
फिर
पूछना
आप
पड़ेगा.
कोई
टीचर
question भी होगा तो
पूछेगी.
ध्यान में आएगा कि हाँ ये
हाँ,
नहीं
अब-
समझा.
Can do that.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Madhu.
I just wish you, that's it. I
Sorry,
just thought
Mataji.
I'm just saying my pranams to you, Mataji.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just one more thing which I remember, once Prabhupada did the yajna at Hyderabad, there was a draw, and when they did the Sankirtan yajna, it started raining. So,
Yeah.
so this happened somewhere in 72s or somewhere around that time. So just remember that, how the Sankirtan yajna really helps to, I mean,
Yeah,
it works.
it's so simple.
It works like
Yeah, even for
more
the farmers
simple
who are
and
experiencing.
they were like during that Pandal program itself. Yeah, after I think 1 year of drought or something they had, and Prabhupada had this Pandal program, and it started raining maybe in the second day itself.
Mm.
So that is
Also,
the
so
power
many
of
houses
Sankirtan
that
yajna.
were haunted, na? It was haunted by ghosts.
Yeah,
But then
in
Prabhupada said
Neelam we have
simply
read,
chant
yeah, the Bhakti Vedanta manor, there also
manner.
it was all
Yeah.
haunted. Yeah, and their devotees. And Prabhupada said, when we chant Hare Krishna, everybody will go away. He was absolutely fearless. That's what, when we just read in the purport, fearlessness is one of the quality of devotee. And Prabhupada has portrayed all the qualities in him into the fullest extent.
Yes, yes,
How
true.
can one be
Complete faith
fearless
in the Holy
under
Name.
all conditions? Yeah, he had a complete faith. And I also came to know, like, before even building the 108 temples, Prabhupada, few years back, he mentioned that there will be 108 temples of Krishna all over the world. So when a pure devotee has some desires, it's Krishna's, he has to fulfill the desires. Now he is committed to
Yeah.
fulfill the desires. Whereas a bound jivas like us, we have to act according to God's will. We don't have any independence. Whereas in a pure devotee thinks Krishna's duty to fulfill his words.
True. Yeah. So yeah, in short, we must perform yajna, and whatever sadhana, no, the in devotional life, the all the activities that we are doing, chanting, reading, hearing. So right now, for 1 hour, we are discussing Bhagavad Gita. This is a yajna. When you honor Krishna Prasadam, that is yajna. When you're hearing Krishna Katha, that is yajna. You're doing yajna through your ears. You're doing yajna through your eyes. When we are looking at Krishna, admiring his beauty, that is yajna. So these are all sacrifices in it. All the devotional activities are sacrifices. The more we perform, the more we please Krishna and all the demigods also. So that is why Krishna says, if we worship Krishna, we don't need to do demigod worship separately, because they get automatically satisfied by this yajna. जो हम भक्ति योगा में जो भी अंग कर रहे हैं भक्ति के, वो यज्ञ है, और वो करने से सारे देवता भी खुश हो जाते हैं, and Krishna is naturally very pleased.
And another thing, Mataji, when we actually perform yajna, we do once in a while. Maybe we do once in a year or something like that. And that effect you feel only for that particular day. And now, like, it's Satatam Kirtayam program. We are constantly engaged. So we are constantly remembering the Lord. So that is one difference. Earlier, our piety, whatever we did, it was only for a particular time.
Yeah.
Like you go to a pilgrimage, you had a good darshan, and that effect will be there for you probably on the same day. And once you leave that pilgrimage, you will totally forget. Maybe 1 or 2 days, you might kind of, reminisce what happened, but you won't feel that. But now, Mataji, we are even thinking now also, oh, that day when I saw Udupi Krishna, his utsav was so nice, it was so good. When we went to Vrindavan, how beautiful was that? We are able to appreciate and remember the Lord more often. That is another difference with the Sankirtan Yajna.
Because
that,
this yajna is filled with love. The only difference is
exactly.
yoga, no? It is filled with
Exactly.
bhakti,
Yeah,
love,
and we are developing the eternal relation with the Lord, right? We are knowing that Jivera Swarupa ho Nityera Sutradasa. We are knowing our constitutional position, who we are, and what is our position with the Lord. So when we have this Sambandha Jnana, we are knowing that although we are here, we need to spiritualize our activities.
Yes.
Like whatever we eat, whatever we do, how do we spiritualize that? Yeah, that is this thing, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada for his literatures and establishing this method. Because no other scriptures, I would say that anybody else, they have not given such a nice commentary, and they have not told us how do we apply this knowledge.
True.
There are many people who give very nice Krishna Katha, but they will not tell us how do we apply that in our life.
Yeah. We will just hear and come back. Okay, acha tha, bahut
Yeah,
acha
you will feel good,
but
definitely.
no practicality.
Feeling good will be there, but you will not even remember after 3-4 days, because I remember Mataji before being in Krishna consciousness, somewhere Ram Katha, here and there I heard sometime, I don't know who was that, but you feel good at that time. That's it. And then it goes away. Yeah. But here also, Mataji, if we constantly don't practice, if we don't chant, if we don't eat prasadam, here also after attending the class, you don't do it, will be the same only. You will not see a significant
that is
change.
why we must practice whatever little
Yeah,
bit.
practice is very, very important here. Otherwise, we cannot hold on to this knowledge also. But Mataji, it's very good. This group already, everybody is chanting more than 10 rounds. So they are all doing very nice.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
that's why
Bharati,
they are
everybody
able
is
to
doing,
observe.
everybody's chanting. Mm.
Yeah, and following Ekadashi and doing everything. So that's very nice, Mataji.
Yes. All right. So any question from anyone else? Actually, today I have to stop a little early. I'm in a hurry a little bit. So any questions? Anyone?
No, Mataji.
Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you, everyone. And please read the next five or seven verses so that it's a little faster next. Hare Krishna. Vansha
Sure, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Patitanam
Vaishnavebhyo
Pavanebhyo Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji.